Welcome to Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah. Today's episode is accountability.
I find the beauty in commotion, swimming by the gale, miles away.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah. I'm Sarah. That over there is Miss Megan. And today what we are going to talk about is accountability. So accountability is kind of my bag. It's kind of my jam. Being accountable is the difference between getting something done and dreaming about getting something done. If you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, for one, you're out of integrity. And for two, you've just taught yourself that your word doesn't mean anything to yourself. And you're more likely to then not do the same thing that you say you're going to do. There's all sorts of ways to be accountable. I'm right now in an accountability group for one of the products I sell because it's fun. It's keeping me active. It's keeping me working. I'm enjoying it. Accountability really is like the secret sauce. But if you don't know what to do, it's hard to know what you're accountable to. Megan, do you feel like accountability comes up for you a lot?
Oh God, yeah. To start that off, I'm going to hold myself accountable to the fact that I did not go to the gym this morning because I didn't feel well. So I did not go to the gym. So I'm going to try to do it tomorrow. But so just so we're acting in integrity here. I told you I was going to go to the gym this morning. I did not go to the gym because I woke up with a headache and I was like, I'm not going to try to work out through a headache. So yes, accountability comes up a lot. In fact, I belong to a networking group that we hold each other accountable by our numbers. So I'm vice president of the group and I have to spill the numbers every single week. And okay, so Sarah did not do her 2 referrals last week, or so-and-so wasn't in the meeting last week. We hold each other accountable to a point where it is like, it's a fun-loving, great group, but that's what we do. And it is, as the vice president, I have to call everyone out when they are not doing what they're supposed to do, which is always fun when I don't do it. Because then I'm like, oh, I got to call myself out on this one because I didn't do what I was supposed to do last week. So, but accountability, especially in business, in every part of life, accountability is so very important. But when it comes to getting your business up and running, the one thing I have always struggled with is I'm not sure what to do. And then when I know what to do, I'm not sure how often to do it and this and that. And so it's hard to hold myself accountable, which is why you're in my life. One of the reasons, besides our friendship, one of the reasons you're in my life is because we do little sheets together and we're like, okay, we got to do this. And it actually makes me, I keep that sheet up all the time. It's always on my desktop. And so I'm always seeing it because I know that I need to be more accountable.
That's awesome. I actually have the screensaver of my phone right now is the accountability challenge that I'm in for the product that I'm selling. It's on the screen. It's on the cover of my phone, so I can see the things I need to do. And one thing that I will tell you is that it's very cool that you need to do the same things in almost any online business you run. Doesn't matter if you sell cleaning supplies or weight loss products or coaching services. We need to be doing the same activities, the same lead generation activities. And so it's really fun to use. I have even gone to the extreme when it comes to accountability when I really wanted to get growth in my business and I had been stuck at a certain stage for a long time. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you before, Megan. This was when I was in the MLSP's mentorship program. But I made an agreement with someone else in the group. I'm like, hey, I need to get this thing done. I'm struggling to get it done. How would you feel about me sending you $50 through PayPal tomorrow at 5 p.m. if I have not done this thing? And they're like, oh, I'd be happy to hold you accountable to that. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. Please do it. And while I thought about doing the thing, while I was aware I knew I needed to do the thing, let me tell you what, that day, I stripped the beds and washed the sheets and went to the grocery store and made a dinner that took me 5 hours to make. And I did everything else under the sun except for that task And boy, you bet I paid $50
Mm-hmm.
because I was not going to get out of integrity. And it was the silliest, dumbest thing that I've ever done. And I'm you know me, this week I'm being emotional, but like, I don't know why you and I haven't started doing that to each other, because you'll be GD right. I'll put out an episode and I'll record a lesson. If the difference between that and the other is sending out money that we're desperate to come by in these back to school months. And so like there's all sorts of ways to hold yourself accountable. And if you haven't been able to successfully hold yourself accountable, that's again why we're here. Whether it's creating what it is that you need to do and helping you figure out how to make it happen, helping you find the time during your day to make it happen, being on the phone with you while you complete those tasks. That is the type of services that we're offering, because getting things done sometimes takes support. And we're not trying to get anybody to send us, $50 if you don't do your task, but it's fun to attach rewards. And if you get to a place where the reward of completion isn't enough, you can create a different reward. And if rewards don't work, you can make punishments. I did.
Well, and that's like you and I have said a few times,
And it works.
it does, but you and I have said a few times that we wanted to get things going enough that we could afford to go on a cruise, and we have yet to like start making that plan so that we can go, which I think we should start doing. Like by this time next year, we should be in a place where we're going. That's plain and simple, we're going.
You're going in January. But we'll have that conversation after September 19th. So we're staging.
We're staging. But like this, so that's really, I think that the reward and the punishment for accountability, or just like, so in my group and in my group, the group I'm in, what we do is, as the vice president, I have the vice president report, and every week we go the top 3. So who's got the most referrals, who's got the most one-to-ones, who's got the most thank you for closed business, and so on. So when I was top thank you for closed business for a while, I saw this one person creeping up, getting closer. She's number 2, and she's getting closer and closer. And then she overtook me. I'm like, man, I was overtaken. That's it. I give up my number 1 position, and I make it fun and make it kind of competitive. Like, oh my God, you're catching up on me. I better get my butt moving, or things like that, because that makes everyone kind of like get into it a little bit more, like, oh, there's a race here. Okay. We have until September 31st to finish out the year. And we have certain goals that we're trying to reach as a group. And so I'm trying to make it a little more a nice competition, but like a competition of like, oh, who's got first place this week? Who's got second place type of a thing, so that people are actually getting their butts moving.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about creating funny little silly trophies that the person that's in number 1 spot in those couple of areas gets to carry around? And then when they get bumped, they pass it to the next person.
I could do that.
That'd be funny.
We have a trophy guy in our
And actually,
chapter now.
see, actually, Megan, do you want to take a moment now and talk about the group that you're talking about? Because I didn't know about it until you brought it to my attention. And so this might be really helpful to our audience.
Well, it's called Business Networking International. It's BNI. It is a international networking company that, like in DeLand, where my office is, there's 2 chapters, because the cool thing is that you can only have one of every single thing. So we have one residential realtor, we have one commercial realtor, we have one PIP attorney, we have one property inspector, one roofer, one, so you can't have 2 or 3 of something like you do with some of the regular like Chamber of Commerce and stuff. You can't have that. You have one. Now you can have, like, we have 2 handymen right now, but one is for north and one is for south. So we have it that way, but they like, you can't overlap each other in that way, except for like you have north and south or whatever. But That's the first time we've ever done that, but it makes it so when anyone thinks of a coach or massage therapist, because I'm actually in there as a coach, but I also do massage therapy and they all know I do it, so they send me massage therapy too. If they're thinking about that, they're going to send, if they're talking to someone that's talking about their neck bothering them, they're immediately going to send them to me because I'm in their referral group and they get points
Yep.
for having someone come to me. So then they get that they have more referrals. So
Right.
then they get up to number one and we're congratulating them every week until someone takes them over. And, so it really is. And it's nationwide. So like, it's actually
Right.
international. So I actually was on a one-to-one a few weeks ago with someone from the Philippines who does podcasting. He has a podcasting company that edits everything and kind of makes everything and stuff like that. So unfortunately he costs a lot of money. So I was like, yeah, I can't do that right now. But but I'm meeting people all over the world because of this company. So it gives me a lot of
Right.
practice.
So it's like a referral pod, a business referral pod.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I'm going on my third year of being vice president. And the vice president runs the chapter basically. So I'm doing my third year of running the chapter, which apparently I'm a glutton for punishment
Awesome.
because
You enjoy a leadership role.
I do.
And that's another thing about accountability. Accountability is a leadership skill. If you were able to hold yourself accountable, I would consider you a leader. If you choose to hold other people accountable, then you're in leadership. And that's just something to think about when it comes to this. And at the same time, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't like leadership, I'm not in leadership. And then that's something you should outsource. Let someone else hold you accountable.
Mhm.
Let someone else keep you on track. It's kind of like I choose to work with a fitness trainer for years and years and years. I did that because I'm not a professional in that area. I don't know what I'm doing. I'd like to have that support. There's professionals in every area. And if you're looking to get results, it's a great idea to hire a coach. It's a great idea to work with someone to get focused in on that.
Definitely. I'll tell you when I moved into my new location and I had employees and the first time I texted all of them and I said, okay, this is it, and I got yes, boss. And I'm like, wait, no, hold on. Oh yeah, I am a boss. Okay, I need to rethink this one because
Yep.
for me, like I've never put myself in that
Yep.
position. I've always been kind of like just there and I lend my advice or I lend my thoughts, but I don't like take that leadership role. But with my company and then being in the vice president position, I realized that I'm not bad at this. I can hold people accountable and I can make it fun for them, but I can sit there and hold them
Yep.
accountable in a way. Now, granted, one of the women said, I don't want to ever miss a meeting because I don't want Megan on my ass. Because I'll start texting them in the middle of the meeting. Why aren't you in this meeting? I do attendance. Why are you not in this meeting?
Yep.
And they're like, I'm afraid of the Megan monster, the attendance monster. So I will never miss a meeting.
The Megan monster. Oh my God, that's awesome. And have you ever considered turning that level of accountability on when it comes to your own business and certain actions?
Well, you know that they say those that can do for others can't always do for themselves. So that's why I have you in my life, because you're the one who's supposed to hold me accountable, because I'm good at holding other people accountable, but I'm not as good always as holding myself accountable.
Well, you're the one that tells me that you can't want something more for somebody else than they want it for themselves.
I know. Okay, we're going back and forth calling each other
I
out
actually
on
have
stuff.
a little list that I wrote down. I never come into focus. So I have things that I love it. So things I was supposed to hold you accountable. You have actually done really well on quite a few of them. I'm not sure if you touched other ones. So like you're already tracking your heart rate. I know you're wearing your watch now. I don't know if you made it to the gym 3 times this week. You did mention that you didn't make it today. So I don't know if have you been at the gym once this week, twice this week?
Once.
No times this week?
Once,
Once. Hey,
once.
once is better than zero. You're supposed to record a meditation. I know you haven't done that yet, my love.
Nope.
One of the things we're going to do later for you is we're going to upgrade you at the gym. And I don't know if you have yet planned out a week of food.
I talked to that one's funny because I brought it up to my husband. I said, I think we really need to plan out the week of menu. And because I want his input because I try to make things he likes versus just me just making whatever. And he goes, you know what, Megan, right now, the hardest part about that is if it's a really hot day, I don't feel like eating anything hot. I just want a sandwich. So he's like, I don't know what the day is going to be until I'm in it, until I'm doing the work, until I'm out there at the shop. And then I'm like halfway through the day, I'm like, I just want a sandwich. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes it hard for me to plan. But what we could do is plan the meals, and then we can always replace one meal with a sandwich. So like we're still in the process of figuring that out, like how we want to do that. But we are talking about it.
Well, yeah, and also if he knows that he prefers sandwiches potentially like 2 or 3 times a week, then that means you could potentially make dinners then the other 2 or 3 nights a week and just make enough of the dinner to have a leftover set. And so then it's optional. There's, you know what I mean? And also I get really like wishy-washy when we start talking about the way that you cook and prep food, simply because like I think and prep in big numbers, and I'm just now starting to finally understand the paring down. And I don't think you cook in the big quantities that I'm used to.
I used to. I
Maybe
used
I'm
to.
wrong, but like
I used to have a really hard time with that because I always had people at the house, and so I always had, 5, 6, 7, 8 people at the house and stuff. But in the more recent years, I've stopped taking people in and letting them live with us, and I've stopped. Really, I've treated my house more like a sanctuary for myself and my family, so that we have that time together in the evening. So I've pared down my cooking. I still overcook a lot, and we do have leftovers. Like I made a pulled pork. We'll probably have it all weekend this week, tonight, because I
yep,
made a pulled pork
yep.
and there's enough for the whole weekend. But I used to way overcook, and now I've gotten to the point where I only slightly overcook. So we have like one day of leftovers.
Right, right. Well, and it's all sorts of things that like we can make little simple changes that suddenly can make our day so much easier, can suddenly get us out of overwhelm. And we don't know what that thing is going to be until we accomplish it, until, we're accountable to completing it. And it's the same thing with marketing your business. Like I'm in a really rough place with a client because they've not been working, in their business. They've been working on their business. And so like at this point, we just need to be getting leads and sales and asking for the sale. And that isn't happening. And so like, I can't give feedback on the marketing that we're using because we're not using marketing. I can't give feedback on the conversations we're having because we're not having conversations. And so I'm at a standstill, and it's created this big breakdown. And so one of the things Megan and I have been working on is creating more accountability within the contracts that I sign with folks, because as Megan and I were just joking back and forth, I think I might have said it, but like we can't want something for someone more than when they want it for themselves. And so like we can't just go choose a random person and be like, I'm gonna hold you accountable to launching a business. I'm gonna hold you accountable to get strong and fit. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna hold you accountable to grieving for your father. No, we can't choose to hold people accountable. They have to come to us, or they have to go outwards and say, hey, I'd like to do this thing in my life, and I've been struggling. And so I'm ready to have you hold me accountable to what it's going to take to get me there. And I feel really honored and really blessed to have Megan in my life, to where I know 1,000,000% she will hold me accountable to anything I ask her to do. And I think that's real funny because I've shown this list a couple times of things I'm holding accountable to. Megan, what are you holding me accountable to?
Recently, I've not been holding you accountable for a reason, because I know what's going on with that client, and I'm trying to help you get through it first. And then, but now we talk today, And now at least once a week, we're going to be meeting so you can record your lessons. That is going to happen. And I will hold you accountable to that. But until now, I've been more like just, I don't want to hold you accountable because I think that you've been in so much of a breakdown in when it comes to some of that stuff because of this one client, that I didn't want to push you. And so I've been kind of like just being here for you and just being available to speak and to talk and to be that person that you can vent to and you can talk to get you through it and to give you some ideas and some thoughts, and like especially with the contract, like I said earlier, maybe add this to it and stuff. More like that I've been trying to do for you instead of holding you accountable, because I don't think you've not been in a place to hold you accountable necessarily. And I could
Right.
be wrong, but that's where I
Well, and
was
also
feeling.
you know a lot of the no, totally. And plus, you know, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that I'm dealing with right now. My daughter is finally just now post-op tonsillectomy. And so she was in a lot of pain and barely sleeping. And so she needed a lot of hands-on care. And that means we've had 2 medical appointments for her. And so I've been out and about and running around and taking AJ to Portland and then taking AJ to Salem this month. And so this month has really kind of kicked my fanny. And so it's interesting because while I feel like I've been focusing on my family, I also know how many hours I both put into that contract and put into the other product that I'm marketing. And so it's interesting to me that I'm showing up in places and yet I'm still feeling this frustration. And so that tells me I need to shift where I'm showing up and I need to be accountable to different things. So and that's exactly why, again, we do this podcast, we talk about what we're doing, we make a plan, and then we look back and be like, did we work our plan? Okay, we didn't. What did we miss? Because that's one thing we did before we hopped on here is we're holding ourselves accountable by using a Google Doc we can both look at. We have tasks that we need to complete, and then we have podcasts that we've planned out. And folks, at this point, we've got a solid 15 podcasts ready to go, and we're excited to get recorded. We do want to invite people on. We would be happy to do a live coaching session. We would be happy to have you guys give us something that you'd like to hear us talk about. We're all about it. We're ready to hear from our audience at this point, friends.
Definitely. And the thing is that even with Beth, with what you do, what we'd love to be able to do is have someone here learning what you have to teach, and we can record it and it can be used for a lesson later on. So anyone who would like to get some business stuff just here and there, we'd love to have you on here to kind of get your input on what's being taught and to give you advice and help. Because when it comes to business, there's mindset part of it and then there's the business part of it. And that's why we're working together, is because there's a lot of overlap with business and life. And so we're trying to help with both aspects of it. And we're both able to kind of like grow in both ways, both directions with what we do.
Yep. Yep. And actually, that's another thing I'll go ahead and put out there. I will go ahead and at this point call it beta testers. And as Megan was just saying, I'm hoping to find someone who'd be interested in recording with us. And I want to walk you through the steps to launch your own business. We are going to go all the way from, getting your first leads to serving your first clients. Again, there's steps you have to take. You have to show up. There's work that you have to do. I'm going to show you how to take those steps. I am not going to do the work for you. I'm not going to build your audience. I am not going to make sales for you, but I am going to show you step by step how to grow a business and how to get yourself there, from creating your brand, your logo, if you want to, your website. But I like to always be clear with folks that before you get into your website, you need to be able to manually do everything else yourself, from make a sale to serve your client, because websites, they don't make sales. Websites take you to another level of professionalism. And websites are a wonderful piece of automation to use in your business. But if you get wrapped up in creating the perfect website instead of having your boots on the ground out there talking to people, you can go months and months and months and spend money and not have any sales. And that is the opposite thing that what we're trying to create when we are working with people. The one thing we want to do is help people reach their goals. And I'm pretty sure it's not your goal to go months and months and months without making a sale.
Well,
Megan, I
and that's
haven't talked about it yet with you, but I'm almost ready to be accountable to some pretty big things. I just need to break them down into actions instead of just saying, hold me accountable to this goal, because that's not what accountability is. Like, I'm not going to ask you next week, so have you gone on a cruise yet? No, that's not what I'm holding you accountable to. I'm holding you accountable to the action steps that you're going to take that's getting you towards that goal.
yeah. Yeah. So then, the thing I wanted to go back to websites because, I have my website, but if you go on my website, you notice a lot of it's about massage because that is where my clients know to go to schedule their massages. I don't have as much right now on coaching because I'm not about like that's not going to sell things for me. It's not going to sell coaching. It's me that's going to be getting online and doing that. So I need to put more time into that, but I'm not willing to put as much time into it right now until I start getting the other aspect of my coaching going more consistently. I'm trying to think of the word more consistently. So my coaching page is
Right.
very limited. It just kind of like gives you a basic over of what I do. This is who I am. And then, but the rest of it is more towards massage. And that's because I've been in that 20 something years. And I have clients that will go to that website and
Right.
they will book an appointment with me. And that's the end of it. Like they go to the website, they say book appointment, and there they go.
Yep. Yeah. Your massage business, parts of it is very automated, and that's awesome and wonderful. And it's because of that automation that you've got the time freedom to be working on now your, do we want to call it your bonus business, your passion business? Because you are so passionate about coaching. While you were talking, I had an interesting idea. What if you're going to start helping me record lessons, what if we launch Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah's website, create branding for it, and then that could be the page that you use for coaching.
We can do that.
Then you don't have to feel like you're sending coaching people to a website that looks very much like massage.
We can do that. Okay. I will try to figure out how to do that.
That was the
Okay.
point of us choosing a new website, a domain, is so that we could record the lesson of me taking the steps to get it done.
Okay. Not a problem.
You do great, which is so funny because I feel like that's one of the ways that you self-sabotage. Maybe not self-sabotage, maybe hold yourself back. I love that you go out and you teach yourself how to do things. And yet at the same time, if we weren't focused on learning how to do new things, like you've learned how to branch out and do WordPress, you've learned how to build websites and different platforms. If you could force yourself instead to be out there making new connections and growing your network and asking for the sale, you would be making more money. And so it's so hard to catch ourselves when we start to go down a rabbit hole. I still really suffer from shiny object syndrome, and maybe we can add that to the things that we want to talk about in a podcast.
Oh,
because
definitely.
I signed up for a webinar at 7:30 this morning on how to grow a YouTube channel, and then my timer went off, and I was like, "No, girl, no, calm your brain down." I mean, while yes, I want to grow our YouTube and our podcast, I also am not in a place right now where I'm like, let me go learn new techniques and new things to do. I need to be doing what I know how to be doing before I go do new things. Which is like, I've been trying to finalize this WordPress branding course since 2018.
Okay, so that's something we're holding you accountable to. If it's 2018, it's 2024, so we're holding you accountable
I
to
was
that.
just gonna say, yep.
So accountability,
Well, and a lot of it is what comes up and what just came up for me. Like while we were talking, I feel like there's no point in me creating it when anybody can teach themselves how to do it. But gosh, girl, everybody is not as amazing and brilliant as you that you're like, I'm just gonna go figure it out. And so I have to remember that, like, the thing that I can teach people, it still has value. And you and I talked a lot about that this morning. Like when I first got on the call this morning, I was crying to you that I'm a fraud and I didn't give her what I say I was going to give her and I didn't show up. And you're like, no, hang on. You did.
You did. But, and the thing is, hon, is that when it comes to like websites, yes, I forced myself to go out and learn how to do it because I had someone help me with a website, and not you, but someone else. And and every time I asked them to change something, they didn't do it. So I was like, oh my God. So I was like, that's it. I'm learning how to do this. So then I tried different website building,
Yep.
like Wix and Hostinger and stuff. And WordPress, I was scared of. So finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go in and do it. And so, but that's because I am the type of person that if I'm going to ask you to do something, I at least want to understand part of it. Because if I need something changed and you're not able to do that at that moment, and I want to change, or I want to put an ad up on, I'm having this deal for the summer for massage, I want to know how I'm doing it. But not ever, I prefer not to have to do it. To be honest with you,
Right.
I do not want to do it. I would love to forget and just say, you know what? I just wasted my time learning websites because I'm never doing another one.
You didn't enjoy it, huh?
No. Mm-mm. I now know why people pay people to do websites because they're annoying.
So much.
And so that's part of it. Like, that's part of it. Yeah,
Me
anyone can learn how to do a website, but the problem is who wants to? My love is helping people. My love is doing massages. My love is going out there and helping people feel better, go from crying to laughing like I have with you, even if it's making fun of myself. But I don't love doing that part of it. I do not love that. I do it because I need to, because I want to understand it and stuff, but that's not because I want to. So there's a lot of people out there that what you have to offer, they don't want to have to do. They don't want to have to do all that. They want to be able to tell someone, this is what I want. This is how I want it. Go do it. Because I don't want to.
And one of the reasons that I decided to actually learn how to do a WordPress website is because, for one, I paid a whole lot of money to have one built and it never looked right or functioned right. And I was super disappointed. And then after that, every other time I got quoted to build a new website, it was like a $5,000 ticket they're quoting me. And I was too scared to pull the trigger again because the first time I spent big money on it, I didn't get what I wanted. And so I decided to learn how to do it. And then my self-sabotage came into play, and I can't choose my brand. I can't choose my colors. I can't choose my bio. I can't choose my own this. And so I'm like, but I'll just go do it for other people. I'll let other people tell me what they want their business to be like, and I'll go build the website for them. And so I did. I've done that for a little while, and it's not funny, but I feel like I've manifested a client who can't get through the process of the steps to get it launched. And so it's become a really great growth opportunity for me to look at what could I do differently so people don't get stuck where I got stuck.
That makes
Which is
complete
where this
sense.
accountability comes into play.
Yes. So accountability, we're accountability when it comes to
How
and
long,
it's
how
like
long do you
to
think that I need to complete my course? Hold me accountable.
how much have you gotten done on it?
Sorry, our lag is bad today.
How much have you gotten done on it?
I have all of it outlined.
So what do you have left to do? What do you have left to do? You
I
have
have,
the videos.
every step outlined.
So are you
Record videos to record lessons.
okay? How many?
Well, and this is where it gets complicated because my goal was to walk somebody through this process in 12 weeks. And so they just do one little action step a day. But I don't want to have 84 action steps. That's way too many to have. And so I'm working on compressing it. And so I think I might be able to record like a week at a time in one lesson. So I think I could do it in 12 lessons, potentially 15.
Okay, so that's 12 to 15 videos.
And yep. And like I said earlier today, I really want to keep them short, like 7 to 10 minutes. And so, folks, this is how you create an accountability plan right here. Megan and I are kind of doing it live for you. I have a goal. We've talked about the outcome. We're talking about the steps it's going to take to create that outcome. And having someone that you're working with, she's asking me all the right questions. And I just got us off track by narrating it because I really, I'm nervous about this.
Yeah, you're doing it again. So do you want someone on the video with you, or do you want to do it like by yourself? That would be my next question.
I think I should do it by myself because I can't ask someone to be on the video for me when I'm trying to create content that could be used evergreen, that can be used by anybody over and over again. I don't necessarily want to be doing all the branding decisions with someone. I want to be walking them through how to brand themselves.
Well, that's true. However, you can have someone like me on it that's acting like a student that doesn't know anything, because I can do that really well. And so then you're walking me through that aspect of it, and we can do that with
You're
like
married.
we can do that with Grit and Grow. Like, you can walk me through the branding and all that stuff, because you asked me the other night, do I love the branding that I have for Grit and Grow? And I'm like, I'm not married to it. I don't, like, I just put something together that reminded me of Grit and Grow. So we
Yeah.
can change that. And so we
Right.
can we can walk through the building of the website for Grit and Grow and for the coaching aspect of it. And you can kind of like
Okay.
walk me through that. If that's the case, if you want to do a lot of them with video, I would say 3 weeks, because I was recording the podcast, and that is going to be, we're going to have to juggle our time a little bit. So I would say 3 weeks, possibly 4 weeks to get it done.
Okay. I'm down.
How do you
And I
feel?
know we've been
How
talking
do you
about this
feel
a couple
about
of times,
that?
but I'm going to also go ahead and challenge us to the next time we record. We have a timer. I think that's an excellent plan.
And you know what? I have a timer on my watch, and I have yet to set it, but my watch has a timer. It has a stopwatch.
And your heart rate and
My sleeping, my footsteps, my beats per minute, my oxygen level, my my training, my weather, the sleep, messages, stopwatch, and find my phone.
I never have to use that feature.
Nope.
There you go. I should reward myself with a watch when I complete this program, because I've wanted one for a while. I've wanted to track my sleep. I've wanted to be able to check messages on my wrist instead of. And so I really think that I will make that as a reward, because I've actually never done that. I've never made a gift to myself, a physical gift to myself, a reward for completing something business related. Because for me, I'm like, well, how are these connected? But I'm going to try that.
There you go. So 3 to
So
4
I think
weeks, and you'll
I will have
have
this course
it done.
completed before your scary day in September.
There you go. And in the meantime, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start putting together a course type of thing on I haven't figured out exactly what it like specific, but I'd like to get something to go along with what you're doing, but mindset wise. So like the self-sabotage and the things. So it's like the clients are getting both the mindset classes and the classes for the building the website and stuff, because you'll get different people stuck in different places.
I love that idea. And because also I might be able to give you suggestions for that week on what blocks came up for me, what blocks do I see happening. what blocks my clients have already experienced, because even though I don't have this course completed, this is probably the 12th to 15th client I have walked through this process, and we have gotten stopped or stuck at different stages. Yeah. And I'm excited to complete one and be proud of one,
And then
and
you'll
see
have
other people complete one and be proud of one.
and then we'll have a course we'll have a course that incorporates both aspects of it, because people get stuck at the brass tacks of it, but they get stuck because of their mindset. So
Yep.
we'll have a complete course to start putting out. So 3 to 4 weeks we'll
Awesome.
have
We've
that
got a
done.
plan. We've got a plan.
So okay, so we have way gone over like the planned time for a podcast. We always do this. Okay, the next one we're gonna have on a stopwatch. I'm gonna put my stopwatch on, and it'll start dinging when it's time.
Just shut down the video like it did for us earlier.
Yeah, right. I'm in the middle of saying something. Anyway, so
When I said something offensive.
I was like, man, I said something that upset her. My job. Okay, guys. So as you can see, we
All right,
have a
folks,
lot of fun
this
on
has
this
been Nancy Sarah.
podcast. We have a lot of fun on this podcast. We tease the heck out of each other. We enjoy doing the podcast, and we enjoy like showing you the steps. Like, so we just went through a step of finding, she told me as her coach, she told me what she wants me to hold her accountable. I asked questions. We came up with a date, a time period. And that is what coaching is about. Coaching is about me drawing that out of her, what she wants, how she wants it, and then holding her accountable to it. So we just did that for you so that you can see how we're going to work with you as well. But that's it for our accountability. And we will update everyone in 4 weeks, up to 4 weeks, on how things are. And we will go from there, right?
Absolutely.
So everyone have a wonderful night, and thank you for tuning in to Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah, and we will see you on the next one, the next episode. Bye.